So by not leaving U.S. troops in Iraq, President Obama committed a colossal blunder. Did he not?
There's no question that not maintaining a true presence in Iraq so that we could continue the momentum towards trying to secure that country and try to hope that it could govern itself in the right way, I think was a mistake.
All right, there you go. Leon Panetta with Bill O'Reilly. Joining us now, Dr. Ron Paul, former 12-term congressman from the great state of Texas and former Republican presidential candidate and founder of Campaign for Liberty. Hello, Doctor.
Hello, nice to be with you, Steve.
Always good to talk to you. All right, let's talk about ISIS first in this Panetta press tour. You know, Pat Buchanan said yesterday, since he served in 3 administrations for 3 presidents, he said if you write a book, you wait until after, you know, the president steps down. But that, whether you agree with that or not, I mean, this does not speak well of Commander-in-Chief President Obama, does it?
No, but it just shows that there's a lot of division. You know, intervention by a group of people, they vary the intervention, and it's not precise on what is right or wrong. The only time you can get a precise debate going up is whether or not you should intervene, and that's why the argument that comes from libertarians and constitutionalists is quite a bit different. But when it comes to management, you know, how many troops do you leave, how long do you stay, how much money you're going to spend, who you're going to align yourself with, and when you start dropping bombs, it's all, you know, technical stuff which ignores the whole thing about what is the goal. And if you're trying to achieve an impossible goal, which is what I've come to the conclusion of so much of what we've been doing over there for about 15 years, that whether you kept the troops there or not wouldn't have made any difference.
You think ISIS would have been where it is today, even if we kept a force of 30,000 or so troops?
It could have been stronger because their main motivating factor for joining is our presence there. They sort of like us dropping bombs because every time there's a bomb dropped or every time somebody over there gets killed by an American bomb, they get a tremendous boost to their recruitment. So they're not unhappy with what we're doing.
But Doctor, they're killing other Muslims, beheading them, beheading Christians, beheading Kurds. Why do you say we're their primary motivation?
Well, because they tell us that, and that is the reason, but they've been killing each other for 1,000 years. And it seems like they increased the killing when we were over there. Could you compare what's happening there today to what it was like when Saddam was there? There was no ISIS. There was no Al-Qaeda. And Saddam Hussein was there. Now, how about Syria before we decided we had to get rid of Assad? I mean, ISIS wasn't there. It's when we started supporting rebels who were supposed to do our bidding and go get rid of Assad, and that morphed into ISIS, and they took our weapons.
Yeah, well, because they deserve, the Iraqis ran. I want to ask you about Duncan Hunter. Congressman Duncan Hunter from California says that there have been at least 10 ISIS fighters that have been caught coming across the border from Mexico. That's breaking today as we speak. Is this a problem in your view?
Oh, it can be, but, you know, sometimes we go to war under rumors. We go to war so often based on lies. We went into Vietnam based on a lie. We went into Iraq on a lie. So before we get too carried away, check it out and find out what's happening. But it shouldn't shock us because, you know, they've been here before. But what we should do is, you know, when people murder and kill and acts of violence, if it happens in a domestic society, the very first thing that the police does is, what's the motive? Who did this? Who's going to perpetuate this? Why are they doing this? But we never ask that in the military sense, and they're a bunch of thugs. And to think that how many Americans feel so strongly about an issue that they commit suicide terrorism? So you have to try to understand, why would anybody do it?
Well, what if they said we shouldn't allow women to vote in this country or run for political office, and we shouldn't drink in this country, and we should have Sharia law in this country? What would you say to that motivation?
Well, I would say that if we don't suppress those kind of thoughts, what do you think our revolution was all about? That's what is our Constitution all about? Why would we ever reject the rule of law? And what makes anybody think that, you know, we're on the verge of this? If they did and they accomplished it, it's a sign of tremendous weakness.
Right, but that's what they say their motivation is. They want a caliphate. They want Sharia law all over the Western world.
No, I think they want us out of their world is what I think they want. And the people who have done the research and talked to these people find out that is the number one motivation for joining a radical group.
But we are out of Iraq. We were out of Iraq before ISIS started marching through Iraq.
Yeah, but you understand that none of that existed before we went in. Al Qaeda exists. We set the groundwork for the Al Qaeda because we got rid of Saddam Hussein, and then we stirred up the trouble by joining the forces to get rid of Assad. We left a lot of weapons over there. How can we ignore that? Isn't that a pretty obvious fact?
All right, fair enough.
Of how they've organized and what's motivated. Their number one goal is to get rid of foreigners in their homeland.
All right, Doctor, always great to talk to you, sir. Thank you very much. Take
care. Steve, thank you.
Take care. Dr. Ron Paul, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll be back with this hour's American Moment. We look at the Louisiana Purchase. It's coming up next. Happened in 1803, and we're going to talk about it. Don't go away.
Thomas Jefferson is credited with doubling the nation's size through the Louisiana Purchase. But it was events far beyond his control that made that purchase possible. After becoming president in 1801, Jefferson recognized the Mississippi River had become a major trade route, bordering the eastern boundaries of the United States. But he also recognized its vulnerability, since the city that controlled the mouth of the Mississippi, New Orleans, was owned by the French. America's overtures to purchase the city of New Orleans were repeatedly rejected by the French until 1803, when the French Navy suffered a major defeat off the coast of what is now Haiti. Napoleon found himself needing money to rebuild his navy. Consequently, when in that same year, Secretary of State James Monroe again traveled to Paris with an offer to purchase New Orleans, he was pleasantly surprised to learn Napoleon was willing to sell not only New Orleans, all of France's territories in the New World. The United States was ready to spend up to $10 million to purchase just the city. So when Napoleon offered to sell all of their land holdings for a total of $15 million, the future president accepted. In one action, 828,000 square miles covering the future states of Arkansas, Colorado, Iowa, Kansas, Minnesota, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, New Mexico, North Dakota, South Dakota, Oklahoma, Texas, and Wyoming became part of America for less than 3 cents per acre. For Newsmax TV, I'm Bill Curtis, and this is an American Moment.